Hello everybody, my name is Salagander and we are back here again today with another figure review. As you can see, I've got Majin Buu here, out the box already, decided to do something new. Thought, what if I started with them already out the box, you know, kind of just like reviewed the parts as we went along. So, I'll put the box down here, and we'll get to reviewing him. So, the first thing that I want to know about this figure is that it's tall. It stands in at about 8 inches tall, you know, taller than Piccolo, just slightly shorter than Broly, like if you count the tentacle. So the top of his head, you know, it's about the same height as King Piccolo, but really, you know, including his tentacle, his appendage, it's closer to 8 inches. He's... You know, well, his articulation to begin with, he's got the regular hinges on the shoulders, he's got the butterfly joints, which look quite good. They can go out quite far, but they look a little strange from the back. He's got legs that can go out almost 180 degrees, actually, which isn't surprising considering the character doesn't have any bones. They can go 90 degrees out to the front, as you can see, and the actual knees look to go to about 90 degrees. The elbows, they go past 90 degrees. You have swivel on the wrist, which is very good. The swivel connects at the beginning of the bracer. The hands themselves are on a ball peg. I'm not going to take them off because that's kind of, you know, it's just a bit of a chore. And you do have quite good bicep swivel, actually, you know, full 360, not difficult to do. The head is on a double ball peg, as you can see there. And that's very easy to just, you know, move around. Let me just put his head back on. And what that means for the figure is anywhere you want the head to go, it'll go there. It's so much easier to just pose the figure that way. And of course the neck itself is on a ball joint, if you can see in it there. And I think the chest, there's articulation in the chest and there's articulation in the abs, as you can see. So that does it for articulation, and as far as articulation goes, I think I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. So that being said, let's move on to accessories. To begin with, probably the most notable accessory that this figure comes with is the Fat Buu head and the energy effect for him. Now, you will probably notice something. The top of Fat Buu's tentacle is gone, and it is in fact stuck inside the energy effect. Now, it occurred to me only after this had happened that once you put the energy effect on the tentacle, you are not supposed to take it off. Now, that's something that should have been fairly obvious to me in my mind, but I will warn you, if you don't want the energy effect to be on the head, don't put it on unless you have, I don't know, the gentlest of hands. Because quite honestly, trying to pull it off will only result in the tentacle snapping, and honestly, I don't think anyone who collects figures wants that. Because I've kind of, you know, I've busted mine now. Nothing I can do about it, and I'm quite upset about that. But a little bit of super glue might fix it. I mean, I don't even own the Fat Buu figure, but if I did, I would be more upset, probably. But a little bit of super glue should fix it as long as it doesn't fall over and bash it. So yeah, that's a really good accessory. Moving on to the rest of the heads. So, including the smiling head that you've already seen, we have this alternate head, which is a frowning head, which, oh my god, it is done so well. I love the eyebrows, or at least the brow. He doesn't have eyebrows, he just has a brow. And look, the creases around the mouth where he's frowning, and like man, I can't get my words out for how much like the sculpt is good on this, quite honestly. I can't get my words out. But yeah, it's as far as like the actual molding goes, it's the same, like it's the same shape as the other head. It's just got a big frown instead of a smile. And the next head that we're going to go on to, of the actual alternate Buu heads, is this screaming head for when, I think, is he... I think it's when Gotenks and Piccolo trap him inside the hyperbolic time chamber, and he's kind of like, what? No candy for the rest of time. He's like, no, and he yells really hard, and he's like, he's evil and angry. And as you can see, they've sculpted veins in there. That's the first thing that kind of pops out to me, aside from the massive jaw, which I think would really benefit from some more depth, to be quite honest. Like, yes, it's really well done. The teeth are individually kind of like sculpted, the tongue's painted, the mouth is painted. I just think it would benefit from a little more depth, because it's very flat. His mouth isn't as cavernous as it probably is in the manga, and like, you know, in the manga he had like a painted uvula and all that stuff. But overall, this head is it's probably the best one in the package, like seeing how it's sculpted. But really, it's only going to be used in poses in which he's like either proper in the middle of fighting, or being hit, or just yelling, being angry. Despite this being the best face, I think it's probably the one that you'll get the least use out of if you want to pose him with I don't know, if you want to pose him by himself, you'll get the least use out of it. But if you want to pose him in fight scenes or with other figures, you'll probably get the most use out of it. I don't know, like, I tend to rejig my display every now and then, quite frequently. Say, every month or so, I tend to jig around my display, and that includes, like, taking all the characters down, opening their boxes, switching around all the accessories, and, yeah. So, a lot of the time, this face is the one that I'm being used, especially if it's, like, you know, fighting with Gotenks or something like that. Anyway, onto the hands. So, onto the hands, we've got, as well as the two kind of relaxed by the side open palm hands that come with him in the packaging, you have two fist hands here for when he's either punching or balling his fists up or whatever he wants to do. You've got two kind of like key blast open palm hands for when he's doing his ultimate extinction wave or something like that. Like, it's like when he... That might not be the correct attack name at all. I just remember that being someone's attack. He lifts his hand up and shoots a load of energy blasts that destroy every human on Earth, save for Mr. Satan and the people on Kami's lookout. Then you have a kind of beckoning come over here hand for the left side. That's the left side, I had to check. God. Kind of come over here, taunting, beckoning hand for the left, and you've got a pointing hand for the right. And all the fingernails on this are individually painted black. I think that's really good. Attention to detail there, because they could have just left them pink, which, to be honest, wouldn't have been very good, because, you know, he has black nails. So yeah, I think as far as accessories go, I'm willing to give him a 9 out of 10, yet again. Really good figure for accessories. You know, he comes with an alternate head for Fat Buu and an energy effect, so yeah, 9 out of 10 for that. Moving on to the aesthetics for the last category. So, as far as the aesthetics go, I have to say this figure is wonderful. It's masterfully moulded, precisely painted, and sublimely shaded. Like, to begin with, let's just look at the head. You know, the teeth, there's no leaking through of the paint at all onto the teeth. Like, it's all very, very kind of intricately painted. Like, I think, yeah, you've got like the blue tongue in the back there, you've got his teeth, you've got the eyes even, which are like, you know, like, oh, really intricate. And every single, like, all of the dots, all of his little steam holes have been painted in like a kind of maroon, you know, because they're not quite black, because, like, you know, the inside of his skin is pink still, so yeah, kind of like a dark pink maroon type colour. The gold paint works incredibly well on his bracers and on his belt, and there is actually shading on his pants. Like, his pants are white, but there's a lot of grey shading on them, and quite honestly, I think that's And that kind of makes it a bit, really. Because shading on a figure is very, very important. If there's not good enough shading... Like, a lot of people will argue that, you know, oh, natural light provides natural shadow. But if you're displaying it in, like, artificial light, say there's lights in your display cabinet or something like that, the shadow will not be cast correctly. If you get what I'm saying? So, like, the shading of the folds in the pants, that might not be done correctly. So what I'm saying is the actual painted shading kind of accentuates the shadows that would be. Yeah? So, I mean, like, a lot of this is, like, individual moulded pieces. I think one thing that I would say is that the actual knee joint could have been done better, because there's big gaps here and there, which, well, just wouldn't happen in the pants. I mean, it's alright when they're closed, but yeah, when they're open, you know, when they're, like, bending, there are very big gaps. That's probably the only gripe I really have with this figure. He can, there's no gaps when he leans back, and there's no gaps... Oh wait, no, there is a gap when he leans forward, but I don't think he would have to lean forward that much unless he was staring down a much shorter character, and even then the joint of the neck helps with that quite a bit. Anyway, I think that just about does it for this review. So, that gives him, including the aesthetic score, which I haven't given him yet, which I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 for. That's 2 9s and an 8, making 26 out of 30 for this wonderful, brilliant figure. So, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Salagander. Thank you, and good night.